Good evening, viewers. This is attorney Naresham Gehi, and a very important show today about what is going on with the elections, what can we expect, and it seems that a Joe Biden victory seems to be very much imminent based upon what I've been looking at my television set. So we're going to discuss mainly about what happens to the immigration laws if there's a Biden victory, and this is going to be a breaking news session. And we are also going to talk about the public charge exception as to what has been happening with it and what is the latest news going on. So let's basically look at politics today. As you all can see, that Biden seems to be leading in the polls, and he's already crossed the 250 mark, while Trump seems to be stuck at 214. So I think even looking at what has been happening right now, and based upon what analysts are saying, that there's a very strong likelihood that Joseph Biden will be winning the presidential election. Of course, needless to say, if the matter goes to court, what happens, nobody knows. So let's talk about what can we expect if Joe Biden wins the elections. Firstly, it's not going to be a smooth sailing. If people are expecting that there'll be dramatic and immediate changes in immigration laws, I don't see that happening. But there is some good news that the president, if it's going to be Joe Biden, he will be able to overturn a lot of the executive orders which were passed by Donald Trump. So, which means there were a lot of executive orders that were in place because of President Trump, and it seems that more than 400 executive orders were passed by President Donald Trump. So we're going to see that those may be changed over a period of time. So this is what we can anticipate. Secondly, Joe Biden has said that he will work with members of the Congress to make sure that people get the green cards in this country and eventually they can apply for citizenship in the United States. So you're looking at a very different tone that will come in from Joe Biden. That will be more like pro immigration. But if Trump gets elected, you're going to see a lot of anti immigration policies coming into force. And even legal immigration can suffer. Yes, it will suffer if Trump wins the election. One of biggest Trump's priorities is to build the wall. And building the wall by itself is something that he wants to stop immigrants from coming into this country. Also, we are also going to see a massive problem with refugees and with asylum seekers who have problems in other countries and who seek refuge under the Refugee Convention, which was signed by the United States. But if Biden becomes president, what I'm looking at is there'll be a more human approach for people to apply for political asylum. And I believe that we will be living in a world that actually looks at everything objectively and looks at America as a great nation, which will be actually respected by other signatories of the Refugee Convention. So these are a few things which I am seeing as to what is happening right now. And there has been some breaking news regarding the public charge rule. We've been going so much, there's been so much back and forth with the public charge rule that it becomes difficult for all of us to keep up with it. So recently, as you know, that one of the judges that belongs to the Seventh Circuit now, that district court, the judge said that the public charge, definition should not apply. And immigration was not very happy about it because the Trump administration wanted the public charge law to come into force and effect. But the district court judge blocked it. But now this is what happens. Just breaking news comes in that the government has appealed the case and has requested a stay on that judge's decision, which just came out, which means the government is saying that even now people should continue filing the Form I-944. And then we will see as to how the courts are going to rule in connection with this matter. So unfortunately, the little that I'm saying, that the public charge definition may stay, I will keep updating you. This is the news from the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals as to what they are saying about the public charge, as to what is going to happen. So folks, until the dust settles, try not to take public benefits. Try not to kind of basically, uh, to to show that you are taking housing benefits, you're taking food stamps, you're taking welfare. For the timing, it's going to bite you. So it's better that be safe rather than sorry. That's the first message I would like to give to my viewers, especially in connection with this matter. So in terms of what has Donald Trump done with immigration in the past, since I promised all of you that this is what we all are going to talk about. So the first thing that Donald Trump did is that he got a lot of the laws kind of basically changed, and he came up with this restrictionist movement of immigration in the country. Everything was a problem. Asylum became a problem. H-1B visas became a problem, and everything. For example, even people who would leave the country and their green card holders, they were stopped from coming into the country in the name of COVID. So there was a serious impact upon legal immigration. I'm talking about legal immigration. These are people who have visas to enter into the country. These are people who have green cards to enter into the country. So the ostensible purpose was something else, but the real purpose was entirely different. That's what we've seen as to what was happening under the Trump administration. So I hope that once if Joe Biden comes in, he should at least try to overturn the draconian immigration laws, the draconian immigration executive orders that were passed by President Trump. Let's take an example about the H-1B. It has become a recipe for disaster. It has become a recipe for disaster. You expect a normal person in this country to pay $50,000 or $60,000, but if you are going to hire a foreign worker, you're going to pay him $150,000. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. I'll tell you why. Silicon Valley is a fine example. They are very much dependent upon talent. They're very much dependent upon people who have special, unique, and extraordinary skills. And these skills cannot be found in the United States of America. So now, this company that was paying $65,000 has to pay $130,000. So this means that an American company should go bankrupt, or they should not hire a foreign national. Folks, America, the United States of America, was built by immigrants. This is a country of immigrants. And I strongly believe that the rule of law should prevail in our great nation. There are people in foreign countries who fear persecution because of their race, because of their religion, because of their membership in a social group, because of the political opinion. And when they come to our borders, they should be sent back so that they can be killed. That's not the US that we are dealing with right now. Right now, we are dealing with an administration which says we don't want to listen to you. And if we do not want to listen to people, then go through the Congress of the United States. Do not make unilateral decisions, because making unilateral decisions without the aid and advice of the Congress is not a good democracy. A good democracy happens when there is a rule of law, when there's a rule for the will of the people, by the will of the people, and for the people of the country. Three important things that control a democracy. So that is very important. Another important thing, when people say that we need to have a restrictionist movement in this country, look at what's happening in the farming industry in this country. Look at what's happening in the restaurant industry in this country. They are unable to survive because they cannot find labor. In the past, we had these wonderful Mexicans, amazing people. We had people from different countries, from Honduras, from other countries, from Bangladesh, and different countries coming and working in the restaurant business. And that was helping the American employer to survive. So when people say that immigrants take away their jobs, first look at the number of Americans who actually want to take those jobs. So they would rather prefer that an employer starve to death not to have a business rather than actually hire a foreign worker. This is not the idea of the United States of America. We have to follow the book of law. The founding fathers of our nation knew that we are a country of immigrants. So therefore, if someone is saying that America belongs to a particular group, they're highly mistaken. America is a country of immigrants. And I'm not saying that. We need to look at into the history of the United States. So anyone who loves America, anyone who's ready to swear that he's going to stand up for the Constitution of America is the right person who can call himself as an American in this country. If you're not working, you just want to collect Social Security, you want to just collect welfare, you don't want to look for a job, and you don't want others working, is that fair? That's the definition that we need to kind of understand as to what American immigration is. So what Joe Biden is saying is correct. If he comes in, he said that there'll be more human laws. A fine example of what the Trump administration did is the zero tolerance policy. Kids were separated from their mothers. There are more than 500 families right now, 500 children. 500 children who are in detention centers or they are with foster parents, and their mothers and the fathers cannot be found at the stage. The mothers and the fathers cannot be found at the stage. So therefore, it's okay to kind of basically separate a mother from a child? Is that an acceptable policy? Does that make us real Americans over here? So end of the day, I'm not saying that what one needs to do here, I'm not saying that exactly that anyone is perfect, because we do not live in a perfect world. But at the end of the day, but when we all know that a law is going to have a disparate impact upon people, we have to be careful. Because ultimately, we also have to show respect to international laws. Separating a family is not written in the Bible. Show me if it's written. It's not written in the Bhagavad Gita. It's not written in the Torah. And it's not written in the Quran. And it's not even written in the Guru Bani, which is actually a Sikh religious text. So the question is that, yes, I mean, there's a question here that What about Obama's era's anti-immigration laws? Won't we see this with Biden? No, we are not going to see it with Biden. This is my understanding, because Joe Biden was asked this question, whether there was a mistake committed by the Obama administration. He said, yes, it happened. But he also said that he was not the president. You can even look at the clip. So therefore, the thing is, Jordan, I think it cannot be as bad as what is happening today in this country. I think one thing that really disheartens me, you should not be separating a mother from a child. That's one thing I'm not going to stand up for. Because when I took my oath as a lawyer, the first thing they tell you is to unite families. They don't teach you to destroy families, especially when you practice civil rights. And secondly, another thing is I've personally witnessed first-hand experience, because I do this every day for a living. First-hand experience because I do this every day for a living. A couple, happily married, and they were living together for the longest time. He had an old outstanding order of removal. Old. The nicest man was waiting for the law to change. Suddenly, in the state of Georgia, yes, in Georgia, this man was regularly showing up for his hearing, did not do anything wrong. His wife is an American. His children are Americans, folks. And this man was here for nearly around 15 years. And I'm very saddened to say that one fine day, when this man showed up over there, he met with an officer who handcuffed him for nothing. He said, sir, I'm come here to report to you, which I've been doing this for so many years. They handcuffed him, even after knowing the fact that he has a US citizen spouse and he has children over here who are American citizens. And this is what we are seeing over here. I think the laws need to change. We are not here to destroy American families. This is the message we need from our next president of the United States. We are done with this anti-immigrant rhetoric. We are all Americans. We should love our white brothers. We should love our black brothers. We need to love our brown brothers and sisters. We need to love everybody. Because the fabric of the United States is based upon the principles of love. The country is based upon love. And folks, we are Americans. United we stand, and divided we fall. Segregating people makes us un-American. Uniting people makes us strong. Unity is our strength. That's what the United States of America is about. Remember just one thing. Why do we call this country as the United States of America? But today, what I've seen since the past 4 years, it was not the United States of America. It was becoming the divided states of America. We all have to be united, folks. We want to make sure that we stand with the president, whoever it is, to make America strong. We unite families, and we make sure that we have a great nation. And I'm ready to take your questions now. If you have any questions, please start writing your questions. I'll be happy to take them. So first question. Firstly, thank you to our viewers, Jordan Dapkowski. What about Obama-era anti-immigration laws? Won't we see this with Joe Biden? As I mentioned earlier, I don't think so we are going to see that happen, particularly because Joe Biden was questioned on this issue by some people, by one of the anchors, and he clearly said that is not going to happen. And in fact, he said he was sorry that it happened in the past. So George France from Facebook, should new stimulus package include undocumented immigrants? I don't think so it should, but that's my opinion, and I'm entitled to my opinions. And I believe, it can include American citizens. It should include people who are here, but I don't think so it should include, because I'm fair on immigration. And I'll always follow the middle ground, when I see something wherein I have to kind of basically, put my foot down, I will. So at the end of the day, I don't think so it should be. So I always follow the middle ground when I talk in my immigration shows, folks. So if there are any more questions, feel free to ask us questions, especially because this is your time to ask us questions on our immigration show. So if there's a question, please let us know. I'll take a quick pause, and others, we will continue, with our show, and we'll make sure that we talk a lot more about the news as to what's happening in the country today. All right, so let's move further. So end of the day, okay, Harry Weinman from Israel, public charge rule and Amy Barrett, what will happen with her? Well, Harry, that's a very good question. First, good evening to you, Harry. I think, Judge Barrett is fair on immigration. This is where I say that exactly. I will always play the middle ground. I don't care whether it's a Democrat or a Republican, whether it's a Republican appointee or a Democratic appointee. I feel that she will look at it very objectively and she'll give a proper decision on the case. And my analysis is that she will not agree with the public charge rule. And even if this has to go to the Supreme Court, if Joe Biden wins, then I don't think so that rule will be in effect. This is my understanding so far. And the reason I'm saying that about Amy Barrett is, if you look at, there was a decision about DACA in which she stood up for the children. So at the end of the day, people are entitled to their own personal opinions. But when you're a judge, you have to look at it from a very different perspective. So there are few things in my own life when I get clients, I do not agree with them on a few issues because those are my personal beliefs. But when you are sitting on your chair as an attorney who's actually done it all, I do a lot of federal immigration cases, and that's what I do, a lot of federal litigation cases. So I look at it very differently. I don't look at it from a personal perspective. And I feel that Judge Amy Barrett will look at it objectively, and I think she's going to be a fair judge. Also look at Chief Justice John Roberts. A very high regard for Chief Justice John Roberts. And if you look at his decisions, especially the DACA decision, he stood up. So let's basically, have high regard for the judges of a nation. And, sometimes they talk to other judges too, which people forget, and they learn from each other. So the Supreme Court is the Supreme Court, and I have very high regard for the judges, and they will always make sure that the rule of law will prevail in the nation. And even if not, there are judges who will make sure that they confer with other judges and they try to come up with a fair decision. But of course, one of my favorite sayings is that we do not live in a perfect world, but we can pray that our world becomes perfect. So let's see, and that's my answer to Harry Weinman's question. And if there's any more questions, this is your day to ask us questions, and you can ask me anything that relates to immigration or even if it is with politics today, and I'd love to take those questions here. Also, one big surprise. Arizona, a state which was Republican, a state that was Republican, has voted in favor of the Democrats today. That's a big turn. So you are looking at what people are seeing in the country. They are looking at everything. And thanks to Americans for being Americans. Thanks to my white brothers and sisters. Thanks to my Jewish brothers and sisters. Thanks to my Indian brothers and sisters. Thanks to my Chinese brothers and sisters, because we are Americans first. Thanks to my African American brothers and sisters. We are Americans, folks. And remember, we are here to make America strong. And it's very cheap when people distinguish themselves based upon race, alienage, and national origin. I think I have no respect for anyone, whoever would discriminate against anybody. Because we all forget one thing. We all are children of one God. We all go to churches. We all go to temples. We all go to mosques. We go to different places. But there's one thing which we tell God: God, give me the wisdom to be a good human being. And a good human being will never discriminate based upon race, religion, social group. So make sure that you treat everybody as an equal. And secondly, this is a country which is very well known for the word equality before law and equal protections of the law. And I want each of my fellow viewers here who are looking at this program to follow it deeply from the bottom of their heart. It is you that makes America great. There's a very good saying that the pen is mightier than the sword. There's a very good saying that the pen is mightier than the sword. It's your pen that can write the laws. It's your voice that can make the United States great. It's you who are the voice of America. So just make sure that if we have to continue to be the number one country in the world, we all have to be united, folks. That is very important for us. And I strongly propose to any president who's going to get elected to have a human approach, unite families, do not divide families, and make sure that the will of the people is respected. Make sure that America is respected by the entire world. We used to be a nation that was respected by every power in the world. Every country used to look upon America as the greatest nation. But as you all can see, that we did not carry the same respect during the previous administration. But we want to make sure that we sink and we swim with the world. We need to make sure that we love everybody in our country. We need to make sure that we love everyone in our country. We need to stand up for each other. Look at the US Army. You have people from every ethnic nationality working together in the US Army. And thanks to each soldier for taking a bullet for us. We need to learn a lesson from them as to how they all are united. We need to make sure that basically we kind of concentrate on the same lessons, that we learn the same lessons from them, and we implement it in our great nation. So folks, if you have any questions, please let us know. I'll just take a brief pause for 2 minutes. And if you have anything, please do let us know. We'll be happy to answer your questions. So again, before I leave, I'm going to make sure that I will let you know what changes I can expect or we can expect. I strongly believe that if Biden gets elected, he's going to do away with nearly all the executive orders that were passed by Trump, except for a few, which may be good for the country. Trump has passed more than 400 executive orders. Immigration judges could not administratively close cases. They could not even exercise prosecutorial discretion, which was something which was the power of the judge. That was taken away by the Attorney General of the United States. Besides that, victims of domestic violence were suffering a lot. The Attorney General took that away from the courts. That's basically getting too involved with the judicial machinery of our country. The doctrine of separation of powers did not exist. That should not happen, folks, because we are a democracy. So folks, this is Attorney Naresh Gehi, and next week I may have some more news for you, and the show is going to be about the changes that may happen after basically we see who's the president of the United States. So that's going to be the show. It's going to be a very interesting show because I will tell you what I'm seeing and what we can expect. H1 will talk about what impact it's going to have upon H1B visa holders. Asylum laws will be discussed next week, and we're going to talk about family-based immigration and even diversity visa programs, whether they're going to exist, what will happen, and what's going to happen with DACA, as well as people who have temporary protected status in the United States. So next week, we'll be talking about basically the changes we can expect in immigration law once if the new president is sworn into the country. Thank you, folks. This is Attorney Naresh Gehi. The instant program constitutes an attorney advertisement. We'll be back again next week with our viewers on this particular show known as Green Card with Gehi. We offer a free personal consultation and we handle immigration cases from all over the United States and the world. And our email address is info@gehilaw.com. And we are open from Mondays to Saturdays. And the instant program is an attorney advertisement. Thank you. Stay tuned for this program. I'll be back again with my viewers next week, 6:30 p.m. Same time, same place, Eastern Standard Time. Thank you all.